Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Friday the 5th of July 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed down just a touch, 0.1% today to 7,822 points. Healthcare stocks led the way while the materials index was the weakest. It wasn't a great day for the big miners with BHP, Fortescue Metals Group and Rio Tinto all lower. The banks were mixed, though National Australia Bank fell more than 1.5%. Telstra was among the best, rising 1%. For the first full week of the new financial year, the ASX 200 closed up 0.7%. For that week, energy stocks were easily the best performers, helped along by the coal companies. The big miners did well, notwithstanding today, as did the property companies. The worst sub-index was utilities. In corporate news today, Magellan Financial Group shares jumped again. They're up now 10% over the past couple of sessions. Yesterday, the company said it had stabilised funds under management and lifted performance fees. Also today, Santos was sold off after the Saudi Arabian-based Aramco dismissed reports it was interested in buying the oil and gas giant. Story number 2, the Aussie dollar has gone on something of a run. Well, that's probably overstating it, but given how little movement there's been in the local unit recently, today's push to 67.4 US cents, the highest since the beginning of January, is newsworthy. A couple of things have happened. Growing expectations of a rate cut in the US, but not in Australia, has made the local currency look more attractive in the short term. And iron ore futures climbed to their highest level in a month today on optimism for improvement in demand from China. That means buying Australian iron ore. That helps the Aussie dollar. Oil's worth a mention also, with Brent hitting a 2-month high as Hurricane Beryl provided a glimpse of what some are expecting as a horror storm season in the Gulf of Mexico. Story number 3, BHP bosses have docked employee incentives around the globe based on failures to hit internal performance targets on costs, production, safety and gender equity. The mining giant has in the past 48 hours notified tens of thousands of workers that it will only pay out 80% of short-term incentives that were on offer for the 2023-2024 financial year, according to a report in the Financial Review. Workers at BHP's Queensland Coal Division were singled out. They'll receive only 70% of the incentives after 2 downgrades in sales guidance and a fatality at the Saraji mine in the Bowen Basin. The incentive calls were made by BHP's executive leadership. That includes Chief Executive Mike Henry. The short-term incentives apply to all workers at BHP and can add up to about 15% of salary. Story number 4, Joe Biden ain't going anywhere. Overnight facing down calls for him to not contest the next US presidential election. He used a 4th of July speech to concede that he screwed up, his words, screwed up last week's debate, but added he isn't going anywhere. He told state governors that he needed more sleep. None of that hasn't stopped major donors and Democrat politicians suggesting he should call it quits. Abigail Disney, the granddaughter of Walt Disney and a major donor to Democrats, came out and called on Mr. Biden to step down. Tonight, Australian time, Mr. Biden has an interview with ABC. No teleprompter there, and let's very keen to see how he performs. And story number 5, Sir Keir Starmer is set to take over as British Prime Minister after exit polls predicted his Labor Party won not just a landslide victory, an annihilation. The polls forecast that Labor will win 410 seats, with the Tories likely to lose 200 seats and enter the new parliament with just 144. Rishi Sunak, the current Prime Minister, has conceded Mr. Starmer will have about a 160-seat majority, which is about the same as Tony Blair won in 1997. It's the end of 14 years of Conservative rule in the UK and a total turnaround from 5 years ago when Boris Johnson delivered a large victory for the Conservatives. That's it for the afternoon report for Friday, the 5th of July, 2024. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Weekend Fast 5. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.